By traveling to another country, you start to understand a different culture, a different political system, different way of life. It helps to contextualize your own life in the United States.
Going on a trip like this makes you more well-rounded, which is a goal of the liberal arts education. It makes you open your eyes and see something that you haven't seen before.
You can only say so much about certain events, like the Vietnam War, for instance. But actually being here, you can see and actually touch history.
An invaluable part of this trip was meeting the guides, all of whom had very different perspectives about the war, about contemporary Vietnam, about the United States.
Our second guide, he seemed a little more dwelling on the past and also trying to move forward from a bit. He was a lot more serious. He might have had different experiences during the war. He was from Da Nang, and that was a big American base, and he said he welcomed the Americans like on the beach.
To be in Vietnam and to meet someone who was alive during the war, lived in the aftermath of the war, and has also witnessed the changes in Vietnam in the past 15 or 20 years, to have that chance to talk to him and ask him questions, and hear his thoughts on the war and on America's relationship with Vietnam was something that was really memorable about the trip.
Hearing Mr. Tin talk about greeting Americans and then kind of becoming disillusioned over the years, it's that same narrative you've heard over and over again, like about people becoming disillusioned with the American government and what they're doing, but you got to see it firsthand. It was interesting.
So during 1960s,
and now our third guy he's younger, he's a lot younger. He really hasn't mentioned too much about it. He's been really, really friendly, a lot like most of the Vietnamese people we've met. But he hasn't mentioned too much about the war. We did go to the Hoa Lo prison.
Peter Peterson, he came here. He was the first American ambassadors in Vietnam, but he was captured in this prison.
And he was kind of just like, yeah, go see for yourself. This is what was happening here. This is what happened here. He's very clear-cut about it. I think age is a big factor in their experiences about the Vietnam War.
It's important to know both sides and not just know the American side. I think now I'll have a better understanding of the Vietnamese experience.
If there's something I want the students to get from this experience and the class, it's that when you talk about the Vietnamese during the war, it's very hard to generalize. And it's very hard to summarize in a few words, what they felt about the various governments and ideologies and political positions.
I really think it's changed the way I look at the Vietnam War. It's changed the way I'm going to talk to people about the Vietnam War, and I think bringing home stories from Vietnam will be really beneficial to try to open other people's eyes.